Hey guys, sorry for this episode being late. We have some technical difficulties. So from now on, hopefully we can have this out on Mondays. Otherwise, we'll try to keep you updated on Twitter. So one more reason to go to TX3 Productions on Twitter or go to our Discord and you'll know when we're late. So sorry about that.
Hey everybody, and welcome back to Nerd to the Third. This is episode 8 for your stop for video games, movies, and everything nerdy. We're bringing you the power of 3 with your host, Nick Tfolls, and my pet rock.
Oh.
Yeah. No, not on the carpet! God dang it!
Well, when you call me a pet rock, I just have to... I have to get back at you for that. So there's something you can clean up later.
All right, so everybody, this is Tfolls, and he is actually a fan of ours. He's been with us since back when we were Rocky Mountain Slackers, and he was active enough in the group that, I was like, I reached out to him like, hey, would you want to help us out with like our Discord and be one of our mods? And so he's been there, and he's been through the struggle, so to speak. And we even have him on like our Dead by Daylight that's going to be out on Wednesday. You'll see us goofing around and having a good time on Dead by Daylight, but more on that later during our weekly grind. Right now, let's do a quick little grinding. TX3 Productions on Twitter, or UbiChat for other one. Now, if you like Ubisoft games, old and new and future, then you'll like UbiChat. We have a lot of fun with it, and we like to also, just take a nice nostalgic one. Our last one was real fun because we took really obscure Ubisoft games and we talked about them. Like, who would have known that there was ever a Beowulf video game? I didn't know there was a Beowulf video game. So that and many other ones that we talked about. So go ahead and check out UbiChat if you're interested. But let's get this show started with It Came From the Interweb. All right, It Came From the Interweb is where we talk about things that have been going on, the goings-on of Twitter and YouTube, and the kind of thing that really could only happen online. So, today's topic is Ninja is a part of the He-Man Woman Hater Club.
Oh, God.
I mean, obviously, I might be a little bit too hard on him, but so basically, for those of you who don't know, he did an interview over the weekend, and then like Polygon, I think, picked it up, and so basically, the gist of it is that he does not want to stream with women, and the reason being that he doesn't want something he says to come off as like, oh, I'm flirting, and so somebody's going to take that soundbite and they're going to do some clickbait thumbnail on it or whatever and say, that he's having a relationship, and so he's married. He doesn't want that to happen. He doesn't want to put his wife through that and everything. And so naturally, a lot of people are calling him out and being like, hey, this isn't right. You shouldn't, discriminate because someone's sex, basically. So, what was your reaction about this, Tfolls?
I don't know. It's sort of his choice whether or not he wants to stream with somebody, whether it be a man or a woman. But I can also see the other side to it.
Right. I mean, yeah, I don't know. I'm very much in the middle because, like, I could understand him not, like, wanting to put his wife through something like that. I mean, especially, like, me being a content creator and being married and having a daughter as well. Like, so I'd hate for somebody to make a whole video about how I obviously have something going on with this other person because it's like, oh, look at this flirting or whatever. And there is even people who have linked certain like thumbnails of like other people who've done exactly that. And so I think Ninja, being in the situation that he saw that and he decided that he didn't want to do it. And I mean, I'm very in the middle because, like, I can understand why he would want to do that, and I can understand him not wanting to put his wife through that. But on the other, hand, like, the very definition of sexism is being, defined by this. He is discriminating against a sex because of their sex. Like, there's just no way around it, unfortunately. I hate to say it. He's a very nice guy from what I've seen. I mean, I don't necessarily watch him on Twitch, but, like, I do respect him as far as what he does, and he's trying to be, like, anti-bully. That was one thing. He started off as why people started watching him was because of his freakouts and stuff like that. And so I feel like he got to a certain point where he realized, not only do I have 1 million, or probably way more than that, but it's like, not only do I have 1 million people watching me, but a majority of those people are younger. I could take this one of two ways. I could say, I am me, so screw you if you don't like me. Or he could try to change his streams for the better and make sure that he doesn't influence kids. Think about if Logan Paul would have done that. Like, it's just something to kind of
think about. Logan Paul thinking is hard to
right. Good one. But yeah, it's like, what if Logan Paul would have done that and he would have, not tased a dead rat or not shown a dead body in the forest, and he does all this shocking stuff and all this really just dumb stuff that, like, an adult doesn't appreciate, but he does it because he knows kids are watching. So, like, Logan Paul is the opposite of Ninja, if you think about it. He has millions upon millions upon millions upon millions of people watching him, and he's just like, you know what, I'm going to cater to that, and I'm going to use that algorithm to my advantage. Whereas Ninja, he took the algorithm and he's like, you know what, I see that there are a lot of kids, he has this pie chart, and the pie chart is a huge chunk of it is like people who are, in their teens or even, 7 to 8 or something like that. And very well, he could have just been like, heck yeah. And he could have Logan Paul'd it up, but he decided to go the other way. So that was a very long deterrent, or that was a very long detour to basically say that he is a nice guy. And I can see where he's coming from. But at the end of the day, it is just the very definition of sexism.
I mean, I think from what you're explaining, it almost seems like a catch-22.
Right.
He's trying to... He knows how much fame he has and how much influence he does have. And he's just trying to protect himself and his family from any sort of controversy that could come about him. But at the same time, in doing so, it can be taken as discriminatory against, or discrimination against, the opposite sex.
Yeah. I mean, I since this does involve women, I did want to get my wife's opinion on this, so we're going to go ahead and insert that right here.
I think that if you keep your mouth shut and keep everything appropriate, it should not be an issue.
So are you saying like it's wrong that he doesn't want to stream with women?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I can understand being worried about being accused of something, but if you keep it professional and don't say anything you're going to regret, then it shouldn't matter.
Right. So what about his reasoning that, he wants to basically save his wife from, like somebody tweeting, oh, look at them being all nice to each other or something like that?
Pretty sure she's probably aware of what he does.
Right.
And would hopefully, I guess, take his opinion into account.
Right.
Versus other people's input on their relationship.
Right. So, I mean, even though it's his decision and he's not necessarily doing it for sexist, quote unquote, reasons, I mean, do you think it is inherently sexist?
Well, anytime you decide to exclude anybody, you're gonna get that. Yeah. So it can be considered sexist. It can, I mean, because you don't want to talk to certain types of people, you're going to end up being biased about those types of people. So,
Right.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I mean, it'd be like if he was a cash register and he didn't want to take women customers, I guess. I mean, my point is that he's doing a job and he's refusing to, or I guess maybe he's a cash register and he refused to work with women cash registers. I think that would be a better
Cashier. Cash register.
Yes, he is a cash register.
And can't really, is kind of forced to do what the cash register is supposed to do.
Okay, so cashier. He is a cashier, smartass, and he works at Walmart, and he refuses to work like next to other women. Then I mean, that would in a sense that would be kind of sexist, wouldn't it?
I mean, in a sense, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Thank you. And I think before hearing my wife's input on it, I think I was still in the middle, but I was leaning a little bit towards Ninja. Not a lot, but just a little. After hearing her input, it's like I respect her. She is a supervisor. She has a big position at the I won't say where she worked. I almost said where she worked. She has a very big position. She's like the director of a certain company, and so like I respect her. Anytime I have anything business related, I go straight to her and I ask her about stuff because I know that it's something that she can give me a real honest answer on. So I really feel like I'm still in the middle, but now I'm leaning a little bit more towards sexism. And here's one of the main things. I'm going to pull at any dad strings that are out there. My daughter, let's say she becomes a big streamer and she's doing really good. And one of her main inspirations is Ninja. And one of her main dreams is to do a stream with Ninja. He essentially has killed that dream for my daughter. Now, think about all the millions of people who do watch Ninja. How many of those people are women? How many of those people have they killed their dream of starring in a stream with Ninja? I mean, I don't normally lean more towards one side. I mean, or at least I guess I don't usually lean towards the outragers. The people who are on the internet making all the outrage. I don't usually lean towards them. Usually I try to lean on the side of like freedom of speech. It is his freedom as an American to decide that he doesn't want to stream with women. So usually I lean towards that, and I mean, for God's sake, I it was 1 or 2 episodes ago, I kind of defended Roseanne. I hate Roseanne. I don't like Roseanne, but I defended her, and it was basically in the same conversation of the James Gunn situation. It's like, people change or people don't change or, but either way, it's like yeah. I mean, it was the outrage, though, that I was more speaking out against. Mm-hmm. And so here we go. Here's another instance where there's outrage, but instead of being on the side against outrage, I'm on the side of outrage. But I'd like to think that I'm the voice of reason amongst the outrage, because I just don't want to think of myself as that person with the pitchfork or whatever, because that's definitely not me, and that's definitely not what I'm trying to do. And I definitely don't think that like you should just stop supporting Ninja. I just hope that maybe after this, maybe after he's kind of seen the outrage and whatnot, he can kind of see that maybe he should just not close the door, but be a little bit more I guess, well, I was gonna say a little bit more picky about like
selective.
who he does. yeah, selective. There we go. Maybe not picky, but yeah, selective. Because I mean, I feel like there should be some lady streamers out there that you can trust or whatever. And by saying no to all of them, you're basically saying, well, you're all trash. Even if that's not what you're trying to do, this is 2018.
Very much come across that way.
Yes, exactly. So I mean, that is Sorry, go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to say, and that's what's going to happen at some point.
Right. Yeah. I mean, that's unfortunate that that's where we are in 2018, but I mean, you gotta, I feel like he was thinking about it too much from one side and he didn't think about what was going to happen on the other side. You know what I mean? So that is our thoughts on it. We would love to hear yours at TX3 Productions on Twitter, or go to our Discord and you can chat with us there. We'd love to have a conversation about that. Let's go on now to our weekly grind. Whew. I am like sweating up a storm. So, weekly grind is where we talk about what we've been up to, what have we been doing, everything. So, Mr. Tfolls, what have you been doing?
Really not much, just watching a lot of YouTube. I have a few select channels I watch, but more recently, I got into The Dark Tourist. That's
on Netflix?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think it came out recently. I could check when it came out. But Dark Tourist is a show, I think it's 13 episodes. I could be wrong. It's just over 10. Where this New Zealand journalist, David Farrier, goes to controversial places and gets the scoop.
Interesting.
Or goes to sites that really a lot of people don't want to go. The first episode will probably hook you. The first and second episodes will probably grasp you. The first episode, from the moment it starts, he goes to Medellin, Colombia.
Okay.
The cocaine capital of the world.
Oh, interesting.
Home of Pablo Escobar. Or was.
Okay.
Yeah, and he meets with a few different people that were in that life, including including Pablo Escobar's private or personal hitman, who's now been to jail, been to prison, and now reformed, quotations. I think he owns an Instagram, a Twitter. He does like an internet kind of drama show. But he talks openly about his time serving under Pablo, and it's pretty intense. I think a couple episodes later he goes to Japan, and he does go to the Jukai Forest, the Suicide Forest.
Oh, the Suicide Forest. Now, does he film a dead body and put it in his thumbnail?
They don't. No. Unfortunately, they don't find anything. But they do. He meets up with a guy or a guide, and they do find a cut rope hanging from a tree. And later or earlier in that episode, they go to Fukushima.
Oh, okay, yeah.
And they go as far into Fukushima as they are allowed to be. Everyone on their tour bus has Geiger counters.
Oh,
and
jeez.
Once it gets up to about 10 rads, they're like, we need to leave. And they all take a vote and they all get out of there.
Wow.
I think they said that the guide was saying 0.6 or something like that. 0.6 rads was enough to be concerned.
Oh, geez, and they went all the way to 10?
They went up to 10.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, if I know anything from Fallout, somebody's gonna have a third arm.
Yeah, in a few hundred years.
Yeah. Oh man.
Yeah, it gets
that
intense.
actually sounds really interesting.
It is. Another episode, another episode. They go to Mexico. They go to Africa. They go to Southeast Asia. There's 2 episodes in the United States. I didn't really like those episodes that much because I kind of knew most about them.
It's too familiar.
It is. He goes to Milwaukee and does like a Jeffrey Dahmer sort of tour, and I kind of know about Jeffrey Dahmer already. I listen to other forms of media, podcasts and such. It's a very good show. I hope it gets a 2nd season. I'd love to see more.
Nice. So, I mean, you saw something else on Netflix, didn't you?
Yeah. Unfortunately. You made me see it.
So, we're talking about The Package. It's a late night comedy, to say the least. And the basic premise is kids go out into the woods, they get drunk, and one of them cuts his penis off. And so then the Euro trip begins, basically, where they have to make their way back down. And the whole premise is Nick kind of already explained it. The one that actually performs the act buys a butterfly knife and was peeing off of a ridge and was drunk. He was doing the moves and he gets tapped with a stick or is scared and he slices up. And the premise is that he gets medevaced out, but the coolers were switched. And the coolers were switched. So instead of his dick, he gets the beer.
Yeah.
And so then the people who were left behind realize, because they go to get a beer and they realize, oh no, it's his dick. So then they have to make their way down the mountain. And of course it can't just be like a straight shot. Okay, we're at the car. Let's get going.
They hiked a pretty good ways into the woods.
So, what was your overall thought? Positive or negative?
Overall, I enjoyed it. I thought it was a good movie. Mm-hmm. It was rough for me to get through. I had to pause it a few times. Like, immediately, there's just tropes and just... Oh, I saw that coming.
Yeah.
The parts that I actually skipped through, I just couldn't take.
Yeah.
The humor. Nate had a good point about it, and it's this generation's Superbad, or those kinds of comedies that about 10, maybe 12 years ago were amazing. Which Superbad is still a good movie, but it was
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if I can equate it to Superbad, because like Superbad had gross out humor, but this like takes gross out humor to the next level, because I mean there are several shots of like, let's put it this way, if you had a problem with the blue penis in Watchmen, then you should probably just not even watch this movie.
I think I know I don't know if we're going to go through the entire movie, but there's a scene. No. There's a scene in the movie that reminds me a lot of in Toy Story 2. Woody gets his arm ripped.
Okay.
And the old man, I think his name's Jerry. In like Bug's Life, he plays chess against himself at the beginning short. They had to reuse a model character, and they brought him in to be a restorer, a repairman to Woody. And there's some shots with a magnifying glass and some sewing going on. And that scene really reminded me of one of the scenes in The Package where, I forget his name, the big fro, the guy with the big fro in Workaholics.
Yeah.
That was the gas station attendant. When he goes in and starts cleaning
Oh, now I know what you mean. Okay.
I'm like,
I was
they
going
must
a
have
different
taken
way.
this
Okay.
straight from Toy Story 2.
Yeah, that was definitely a scene that was just like, they was just like, did they really have to go there? Because it's like, I feel like they could have gotten just as good of like gut-wrenching reactions if they just would have showed it once or twice. But there was like long takes of him like going around the mushroom and making sure it's nice and clean, and it's just like,
Yeah.
and it's like, honestly, you couldn't have just washed it off yourself. Why was it such an important thing to have it clean rather than just rinse it off?
I don't.
Like, that was definitely a scene that was just like, wow. Why did they go that far? And see, I feel this way about a lot of comedies nowadays. There are some times where it's like they let a scene go on for just a little bit too long.
Yeah.
You know, like a really good example, there's a scene in I won't give it away because what happens is just kind of funny, but there's the scene in the watchtower. And basically he's telling them to leave the room. I won't say for what. He's telling them to leave the room. And the lead up to them leaving the room was just way too drawn out. And it's like, I could see that they were going for melodramatic, but at the same time, it's just like, okay, let's just leave the room. Leave. Hurry. You know, and a lot of comedies do that. Like, another really good example would be like Anchorman 2. Anchorman 2,
Yeah.
I feel like, was just as good as Anchorman in some ways, but in other ways, it's like they just, like, they let the riffing go on for too long.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's like, okay, we have some people, they're really good at, you know, improvisation, so let's just keep the camera rolling and we'll see how much of it we can keep. And so, like, a lot of comedies seem to be going that way, where it's like, okay, let's just keep the camera rolling. And, you know, I feel like in making the movie, it's probably super fun. You know, everybody's laughing. And, you know, I mean, we tried doing something video game related and comedy related, and, like, the outtakes or whatever that we would have had from that was just like, it's just, we all get to laughing or whatever. But if we would have like kept some of that stuff in, it just wouldn't have been funny. So It's like in the making of it, it's like, oh my God, this is so much fun. And it's like, I don't know. It's just when you keep going on too long, like I am right now, explaining about how long you're going on.
Now, but I will say, for what it's worth, it does have really good moments.
Yeah, definitely.
Probably one of the more, I think, funnier parts of the movie is not anything really with the kids trying to get the package to the hospital, but rather the actual kid that cut his dick off.
Right.
And his interactions with the nurse.
Yeah,
they were
those
short,
are pretty funny.
They were sweet, and they just they were hurting my sides. Like, I was just laughing so much at just the back and forth between them.
Right. Yeah, really, really funny. I mean, overall, I'd say I also had a positive experience with it. It definitely had its moments where you're just like, okay, come on.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
I feel like overall, it was a pretty funny movie.
Yeah.
And I mean, I hate to do this because, like, I want Netflix movies to be taken more seriously, but for a Netflix movie, it was really good.
Yeah.
Because there are other comedy Netflix movies that just kind of get by.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like there's Naked, which is pretty much Groundhog's Day, but there's Marlon Wayne or whatever, and he's naked, and he's on his wedding day, and so he has to keep reliving that or whatever. And then there's another one, funnily enough, that's almost a mix between Groundhog Day and like Butterfly Effect. It has one of the guys from Workaholics.
Adam
I don't
Devine,
know his. I think so.
Devine. I think I know the movie you're talking. I can't remember.
It's like When We First Met, I think is what it's called. And so basically he keeps going back in time and changing one thing, and then he goes forward in time and then kind of sees how it affects his life or whatever. And both of those movies were just kind of okay. All the Adam Sandler movies, I don't care what anybody says, they're funny.
Oh my god.
But they're not like great. And there's just it's just hit and miss with Netflix. I feel like they're very, and I mean, you could say this about the TV series as well. There's just like, there's a couple of hits, but a lot of misses. Mm-hmm. And, you know, you could say that about TV as well. But my point is that for a Netflix, it's actually a really good one. Yeah. You know, I wouldn't rate it any higher than like a 7 if we had like a scale or whatever, which I don't like doing scales. But I mean, and this is also something I don't want to say, but it's true, but it's like, it's free, so why the hell not? Yeah. Yeah. So, I mean, if you have Netflix and you want a raunchy comedy, the package, just check it out.
Don't watch it with anyone.
Don't watch it with your 3-year-old daughter. No, because there'll be very many sections where you have to tell her to look at the phone. Yeah. I wouldn't know that from experience, I swear.
Oh no.
So another thing that we were able to do together that was super fun, Dead by Daylight. So if you don't know Dead by Daylight, first off, if you don't know Weekly Grind isn't necessarily like, oh, what's this brand new thing that we just saw? What's this brand new... Weekly Grind is really just about what we've been doing. And so what we did was Dead by Daylight came out on PlayStation Plus for free. And I was so excited because I can't remember. It had to have been like 4 or 5 months ago. I had some money that I wanted to spend on a video game. And I was looking at Friday the 13th and Dead by Daylight. I looked through countless YouTube videos of both playthroughs, and I was like, I couldn't make up my mind. Dead by Daylight was like $10 cheaper than Friday the 13th, but it's like, the main thing I was worried about was like, is there going to be enough people playing it in order for it to make sense, you know what I mean? Yeah. But the premise behind it, whether it be Friday the 13th or Dead by Daylight, was like, okay, this is really cool. So to find out that this was going to be free, I was super stoked. Yeah. I was just like, yes, thank you. Like, honestly, I don't know why they didn't do it closer to October. Even like September would have made more sense than August. But I don't know, maybe they have something else planned for October, so they got this one out of the way. But either way, I was so excited because, you know, like, this type of game really intrigues me. And if I'm being honest, I never had this, you know, affiliation with, you know, Jason. So, like, I feel like the people who are really going to enjoy Friday the 13th are the people who are big fans of the movies. And so no matter how buggy it is, which it was, no matter how crappy it can be, which it was, they can enjoy it because they really enjoy the movies. And then the campiness of it fits what genre it is, which is kind of like a B movie slasher, and so people can enjoy it for that reason. Dead by Daylight looked interesting for me because it wasn't just your typical slasher. There were several different types of killers, so depending on what killer you chose depended on, you know, what kind of play style you have.
Yeah, there's tons of different monsters and villains to choose from. Like, the guy that you chose was probably one of the more standard ones. And then the next round, Nate comes in with somebody that can just someone that can almost go invisible. You can still see their outline, but for the most part, you don't know where they are. I was working on an engine, and I see Nate just appear out of nothing in front of me. I'm like, nope, you gotta get out of here.
Nope. Really, really fun. I think you were the only one who wasn't able to play as
servers went
killer.
down or something. It was happening to all of us. It wasn't just an isolated thing.
So they must have been updating because, I started off as the killer because I had at least played it before, whereas all three of you guys didn't play it. So to set it up, it was me, Tfolls, Nate, which you know him, he's my co-host. I miss you.
Yeah.
And Coach, which you've heard him before as well. So we're all four of us are playing. I was the killer, and then you three were that, and then we switched to Nate was the killer, and then we switched to Coach was the killer. And we had a lot of fun.
So much fun.
Go ahead and give me your synopsis of the game.
It's different. I've stayed away from watching really anything. It just didn't really interest me as far as watching other people play it. But then when you suggested, hey, let's try out this thing for an upcoming project for TX3, I said, okay, it's free. I'll download it. And I want to play more. I'm excited for the next time we all get to play.
Oh yeah,
it's fun. It's enough stress to keep you on your toes and keep you looking around, and you're always on edge. You're trying to defeat. You're trying to make the goal. I think we made the goal every single time. Not everyone got out every single game we played, but
right.
There was enough time and enough area, and enough engines and enough going on to where we were always busy and trying to move forward to the next goal.
Yeah, it was definitely a lot of fun. For those of you who don't know, Dead by Daylight is similar to Friday the 13th in the way that you gather up a bunch of stuff in order to make your escape. So instead of, I believe in Friday the 13th, you gather up like car parts to make your cargo, or a boat parts, or like radio parts or something like that. Either way, you're gathering things together so that you can make your escape. So in this, it's sort of similar in the sense that you have to power up 5 generators, and that will power up the exit. So then you have to make it to the exit. Well, the good thing is that there are like usually 8 generators. So it's not like on the last generator, the killer knows exactly where you're going to be. It still has like 3 more to choose from, which is really good. I feel like the best thing this game has going for it is balancing. Because like you said, you guys won every time, but like it just depended on how many people were dying.
Yeah.
And also keeping in mind that like the people who were playing as the killers were playing for the first time. Obviously when I played, I was trying to be nice and I was trying to get you guys used to the situation. So I was kind of half-assing it. So like there was definitely a couple times where like I was swinging my chainsaw, and I definitely could have got you, but I was just trying to make sure that you guys didn't get too discouraged, because like there were so many times that I could have just absolutely massacred you guys. But I was just like, what was really fun is that I played as the hillbilly. So the hillbilly, he kind of looks like one of the people from like The Hills Have Eyes, and he carries around a chainsaw. So his primary attack, R2 or RT if you're on Xbox, is a sledgehammer, and so you bang him down with that. And so, but then your like special ability, everybody has like the primary hit basically, but then everybody, depending on who you choose, has a different thing. Well, this guy has a chainsaw. What's really fun about it is that you have to hold it down for probably 3 to 4 seconds. And so you'll see this little bar at the bottom of the screen fill up. So what I would do, instead of letting it charge up all the way, which would make me sprint forward, instead of doing that, I would just keep revving the engine. And so it created this really creepy atmosphere, because it's like, instead of like, basically, like, I could see you from, let's say, 50 yards away. I could charge up, and as long as I didn't have anything in between me, I could sprint all the way to you and get you. That's one of the, advantages of that particular killer. But instead, I would see you 50 yards away, and I'd start up my chainsaw, and I'd just be like, and so then I just let that kind of creepy guys out, and of course you would just like run around like crazy, and you'd try to hide, and I ended up finding like 2 or 3 of you guys.
Yeah, I wasn't paying attention very well, and you just walked up right behind me, and all of a sudden it's red, like my thing's red. And I just like, oh, you're behind me. I'm gonna leave.
Yeah, that's definitely in the clips I had. I definitely had to have that part because it's like I was just like tiptoeing. I was coming towards you, and then all of a sudden it was like,
and I heard the heartbeat. I'm like, oh, what's that?
You're like, why is there a heartbeat? Yeah.
By the third game, I figured it out. I figured out how it's very easy to pick up and just start playing.
Yeah, and I think that is definitely one thing that I like about it. I feel like the main lifeblood of this game is definitely going to be how many people keep playing. Because, I mean, this is definitely a game where if you don't have enough people... Like, I honestly don't even know if you can have bots. And so, I'd hate to say it, but it's like that's definitely one thing I would like. Just so that, like, for instance, like maybe if it was just me, you, and let's say Nate, and we wanted to play Dead by Daylight, maybe there could be a bot for the fourth survivor and a bot for the killer. But unfortunately, there's nothing like that, so yeah, it's 100% going to matter on like if people pick it up and use it. So if you haven't already, I definitely suggest you try it out. It's definitely an interesting mix. The balancing I feel like is the best. There's a couple things that was like pissing Coach off or whatever. It's like, I can see what you mean, but it all has to do with like balancing. Like for instance, when you're the killer, you're in first person. But when you're a survivor, you're in third person. So you have a lot more situational awareness. Whereas like me, I can't see around a corner, but the other people or the survivors can. So while they're hiding behind something, I could walk right past them and not even know. Mm-hmm. And in fact, there was definitely a couple times I was able to sneak past, I think it was Nate, because he would come by my area and I would just like, duck down. And so, yeah. And it's really cool because like you were saying, Tfolls, the stress is definitely up because talk about the repairing.
Yeah, it takes a while. I thought it wouldn't take as long as it did.
Yeah,
and the skill checks. When the skill checks did throw me off, I think I heard you say something about don't miss your skill checks before we started playing, and I'm like, oh, what's that? And then I found out what they are.
Yeah, very quickly.
But it does do a nice thing that right before, like immediately before a skill check, it does this little ding or
ding,
or it does a little sound right before the skill check, and then you have to make sure you tap L1.
Yeah.
On that meter.
Yeah, and I like it because there's a great skill check or there's just a good one. Mm-hmm. And it's kind of like reloading in Gears of War. You could just reload normally, which is just faster, or you can reload and get a little bonus. And so that's kind of how it is with repairing. You repair your generator, and obviously if you hit good, it gives you a little bit of a boost. But then if you hit great, but it's really stressful because then if you don't hit it, it makes an explosion and the killer can see where that explosion is. And obviously the L1 isn't always in the same spot. Yeah. Like with reloading in Gears of War, it's always in the same spot, so you can get that timing down perfectly. But in this one, it does a circle basically. Yeah. And that L1 segment can be anywhere on that circle. So sometimes it could be right away, or sometimes you have to wait a little bit. I feel like every time it was almost all the way to the end, I would always do it way too soon because it's like I was anticipating it too much.
Yeah. When it was for me, and it really happens randomly. It happens anywhere on that circle you were saying, but it also, the actual skill checks themselves could be right after, like, skill check, working, skill check.
Yeah.
And it doesn't, it's almost RNG to when the skill checks actually happen during the repair process.
Right.
From what I found, it's usually only 2 or 3 skill checks per repair, but they could happen at any time.
Right. And so, yeah, that definitely adds on to the stress, because not only are you so you're holding down R1 for the repair, but you're also trying to look around. As you're looking around, you could get too distracted that maybe you don't hear the chime and you miss the skill check, because obviously you want to hide if you see anybody, or you're just going to be screwed. Yeah. And so, yeah, that stress definitely just reminds me of watching a really good scary movie.
Mm-hmm.
So it's definitely worth checking out, and it's free, so if you don't like it, whatever, that's fine. You can go onto our Discord, and we'll definitely do some rounds with you. We'll teach you the ins and outs of the game. Super fun. The only thing that sucked is when we weren't able to play the other night, and then I tried today, and I was having a problem getting into the game. Now, that could be one of two things. Either A, there are so many people that were getting on because it's for free that, it's having a little bit of service problem. Or there's B, this is how the service is all the time, which I would like to think it's A.
Yeah.
It's probably A, because it's a free-to-play game now, so a lot of people are trying to get onto it. And it was pretty much the first week that it was out,
Mm-hmm.
so... I'd like to think that that's the reason why, but even then, even if all you have is just one friend to go, be a survivor with or whatever, it's fun. It's a lot of fun. It's kind of like dumb fun, but not even in a bad way. You know what I mean? Like Call of Duty is dumb fun. I can just go play Call of Duty. I don't have to think about it or whatever. This is, a little bit better than just dumb fun. It's just kind of dumb, and it's just like, oh my God, I'm so scared or whatever. But it's like, it takes what I like from like a horror game and makes it a lot more interactive, because now it's not just a mindless AI. It is a real person. It is somebody who can set a trap for me. It is somebody who can bait me. Mm-hmm. It's somebody who can think like me. And so maybe I'm going...
think different,
Yeah, maybe I'm going in a direction because I think I'm going away, but they anticipated that, so they go around me, and then it's like a real horror movie where somehow they're right in front of me or something. So it's just a really interesting thing. It took Evolve, which I love that game. It definitely was. It needed to be better. Not even or better received, because it was a good game. Damn it. But it took that, and I feel like it definitely kind of run with it in the more horror aspect of it. So it was really good. I liked it.
Yeah.
So.
And I'm excited about playing it again with you guys for another session.
Hell yeah. So make sure you guys can check that out on YouTube at ThreadX3 Productions. It's going to be our play times 3, where we play a game, and there's going to be at least 3 of us. Do you get it?
Yeah.
Yeah, you get it?
I get it.
So anyways, check that out on YouTube. That'll be going up on Wednesday, so you can check that out and see us just goofing around. Basically, it was a lot of fun, so check that out. Up next, we're going to be having our Rando movie of the week. All right, so last time we chose our Rando movie of the week, and that was Justice League War. All right, so Justice League War is an animated Justice League movie, and even though it wasn't the greatest movie ever, it was still better than the live action Justice League.
I haven't seen that one, so I wouldn't know.
All right, so what was your overall thoughts on it?
Yeah, in my notes, I just have interesting. I'm not that familiar with the animated Justice League and animated DC movies.
Uh-huh.
But I do know the voice of, Kevin Conroy?
Kevin Conroy?
Yeah. And he wasn't Batman. And that kind of...
He was not.
That kind of threw me off. The voice of Batman was still good, but it just kind of threw me off. But overall, I liked that it didn't explain... It didn't go through everyone's backstory and character build every single person. They expected you to know that Batman is Batman. Hal Jordan is Green Lantern. Barry is the Flash. Superman, Wonder Woman, and the only one that they did have to go through is Cyborg.
Yeah.
Because that was more integral to the plot of the movie itself.
True. Yeah, I mean, I do... And this is pretty much all the DC animated movies. They kind of do the same thing, where they kind of... And I appreciate this, but at the same time, it's like, But what I appreciate is that they don't treat me like I'm stupid.
Yeah.
It's like playing a first-person shooter and then having to go through a stupid tutorial about press square to reload, press X to jump, press L2 to aim down sights. It's like, well, no, I have played so many FPSs in my life. I don't need to go through this. That's why I think Blood Dragon was so friggin' awesome, because it totally parodied that, and just... that was the only tutorial that was actually enjoyable to go through. But I mean, there's so many countless examples of tutorials that go through, and it's okay, this is how you do this is how you do this, and it's the beginning of the game always has to be this giant exposition dump, and so you could say the exact same thing about a superhero movie. That's why I think me and a lot of people liked Spider-Man Homecoming and Spider-Man in Civil War. Instead of being spoon-fed this origin story, they respected our knowledge of Spider-Man and just went on with the fucking story.
Yeah. But going back to Justice League, it was War specifically.
Yeah.
Runtime is 1 hour and 19 minutes, and it almost felt rushed.
Yeah.
They just
I definitely feel like there could have been some
much.
spots that was okay, just a little characterization. It's just boom, 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 boom.
They just rush so much, and I think that's where it kind of falls off for me. It's an okay movie. I mean, Darkseid invades, they beat Darkseid, and that's the movie.
Yeah, I mean, that is the cliff notes right there. It's there's Darkseid, and then he comes, and then there's not Darkseid.
They all team up. They have the nice team up moment, and then our boy in blue comes in to save the day.
Yeah.
Superman just punches him, and he goes back into the portal.
I mean, it was a little bit more complicated.
It was.
Yeah,
it was
pretty much.
It was the whole Superman plot into the movie, and I don't know. I think if I were to watch a few other Justice League movies, at least animated Justice League movies, it might leave a little better of an impression. But this, I don't think, was the one to get me started on animated Justice League or animated
It's
DC.
really weird because Justice League has been going for a while now.
Yeah, there's tons of the animated movies.
Yeah. And so, I feel like they're doing a 52 thing, because, the comics did, 52, so, they basically started over.
I'm looking at their page on here, and it says February 4th, 2014, so it's been out for a while, and it was adapted from a new 52 storyline.
Yeah. And see, I get why they're doing it, and I get even why they do it in comic book world, but at the same time, it's like a really good example is they came out a couple years ago. They came out with Superman Doomsday. And that was pretty much Superman versus Doomsday. He dies, and that whole storyline. Shut up. And then they just straight up come out with another one called The Death of Superman. That's the name of the movie. And it's like, okay, at least with Superman Doomsday, for those people who knew Superman, they knew that Doomsday was the person to kill him. But for anybody who didn't know, they just thought Superman Doomsday. Okay, this should be a really good, movie or something like that. But then here we go, Death of Superman, which in their defense, that's what the comic was called. So, but still, here we go. They already made a animated version of The Death of Superman, but for some reason they felt the need to go back and do it again. But now it's the 52 Superman. Yeah. Like, I don't know, like it makes less sense in the movie world. Of course, this is a world where we have like 5 Batmans, 3 Supermans,
the multiverse,
3 Spider-Mans. Like, I get it, but at the same time, like, I guess I get it, but at the same time, it is the animated. So I feel like all the animated DCs have all kind of had their own universe going, and it's been going for a couple years. So for them to just push the reset button was just like, I don't know. Like, I guess like when I saw that it was Justice League War, and I'm like, oh, that's kind of cool. And I saw that Shazam was in it. I was like, oh, I've never seen anything with Shazam in it, so this should be interesting. And it's not that it wasn't. It's just that I had no idea it was an origin story for Justice League. I just thought it was another Justice League. So that kind of took me out of the experience just a little bit.
Yeah, I didn't really read the bio or watch a trailer for it. I just went straight into it.
Right, yeah.
On other notes, it was an okay movie. It was a good movie. It just didn't capture me as much as I wanted it to.
Right.
But other than that, the humor, I like the humor in it. How Green Lantern's, his kind of quips and jokes were good. Shazam's kidness was showed.
Yeah, definitely.
The humor I don't think was forced, so that was good. It wasn't trying to make a joke out of every little thing.
Yeah, definitely.
But yeah, it was okay. I hope others will be better. I'm definitely intrigued by the animated Justice League series or the movies that they do have. So I might go check more out.
Yeah, I want to check out Justice League Dark, because then that one has like demons and like Constantine. So I'm like, okay, now I want to go check that one out. Mm-hmm. So that was Justice League War, part of our Rando movie of the week. And so we're going to have a new thing every week that is basically interactable. You guys can watch it along with us, or you guys can talk about it along with us. So what we're going to do now is we're going to pick our next topic. And our next topic is going to be my favorite ever. So what should be our next topic for my favorite ever? So far, what we've done is my favorite ever action game, my favorite ever movie that nobody else likes, and there was one more that we've done so far. It's like my favorite I can't remember. Either way, so what do you think should be our next topic, Tfolls?
I have one, but I'm not sure. I guess you've been around longer than I have, so you might know more shows. But I was thinking...
Well, thank you.
My subtle way of saying, you're old.
Oh, yeah, okay. And you're fired.
But I was thinking my favorite ever series that got canceled.
Ooh, I like that. All right. So everybody listening at home, go to our Discord or on our TX3 Productions on Twitter. go on and let us know what is your favorite ever
TV series.
Sorry, I almost said game. TV series that was canceled. So let us know that, and you might end up on the show, and then we'll tell you what ours are. Ours are. So anyways, coming up, coming up next episode, we're going to be giving our impressions on the new Netflix series Disenchanted. This actually looks really cool because it's from the creators of Simpsons. So it has the same art styles as the Simpsons, but now we're like in a fantasy world, and it kind of looks to be parodying fantasy genre.
Yeah. I watched the trailers for it, and it's definitely Matt Groening.
Yeah.
You know, we've seen it in The Simpsons, we've seen it in the Futurama. It almost seems like a tired animation, but that is his style. It is his animation and character design.
I'm definitely interested to see his style of drawing, but now we're in a fantasy.
Yeah.
But then the main thing is now we're on Netflix. So now we can say fuck, bitch.
Yeah, he can do whatever.
I can't actually say that. I just bleeped him out. But we can say bad words. We can have, I mean, you can have a lot of blood, surprisingly, like on, like Family Guy has a ton of blood.
Yeah.
And even like Rick and Morty, but Rick and Morty's on Adult Swim, so that's different. But either way, you can have a lot of blood, but now we can actually have like mature storylines.
Yeah.
So I'm kind of interested to see, like, are we going to have like a whole bunch of like fuckity fucks just for the fuck of it? Jesus. Or is it going to be a little bit,
more refined?
More refined. Like a good example is like Sausage Party. Sausage Party, they decided to say fuck every other word because they could.
Yeah.
And so a lot of their humor wasn't smart. It was just, let's see how many times we can say and make it funny.
Yeah.
So.
And I am interested to see if Matt Groening has an ending. Because The Simpsons, this is going to be its 30th year next year.
God, right?
And not to discredit The Simpsons, it's an amazing show. I mean, it's been on for 30 years, and there's a reason for that. But I'd like to see where he goes with an actual planned plot line. Because it feels from the trailers that this show is actually going to go somewhere. That there's an end result. He might not know it yet, but it feels like there's going to be something leading up to the end.
Right, and it very well could be something like Stranger Things, in the sense that like it will have its own self-contained story, but kind of leave it open. I could see something like that because even though it's going to be a series, even though I don't know how many episodes there are. I don't know if they've announced that somewhere. I don't do research, so I don't know how many episodes there are. But regardless, like you said, it does seem to actually be going somewhere. So that's what we're going to be doing our impressions on next time. Make sure to go to our TX3 Productions on Twitter, or go to our Discord, which will be in the description down below. You can also go to threatx3productions@gmail.com if you'd like to just shoot us an email, and check out our other podcast, UbiChat. That is all for this week. Oh, wait, one more. YouTube on Wednesday is going to be our Dead by Daylight, so if you'd like to see the gameplay that we've been talking about this episode, make sure to go there. All right, so thank you so much, Tfolls.
Thank you for having me.
And you guys, have yourself a good day.